We are awaiting Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas' arrival in Mexico for border security meetings with Mexican President Obrador. The trip comes as massive crowds of thousands of migrants are waiting to be processed, and a huge migrant caravan of up to 15,000 marches north through Mexico right now. All of this as President Biden ditches Washington for a tropical holiday vacation. Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Molly Line. Joining me today, Fox News contributor and president of American Spirit Enterprises, Tammy Bruce. Fox News contributor and board-certified physician, Dr. Nicole Saphier. Restoring America editor for the Washington Examiner and senior fellow for the Independent Women's Forum, Kaylee McGee-White, and Fox News contributor and columnist for The Messenger, Joe Concha. Welcome all. 730,000 migrants have been encountered at our southern border in this fiscal year alone. Those unprecedented numbers are why President Biden's top cabinet officials are headed south of the border to find solutions to, quote, address current border challenges. William Lajeunesse is joining us. He is in Los Angeles with the latest on all of this. William.
Well, Molly, the Biden administration is asking Mexico to do something it will not: deport asylum-seeking migrants and families coming to work, but DHS lets go on humanitarian grounds. So we have some new pictures here from Lukeville, Arizona. Last night, agents apprehended more than 1,000 migrants, including 700 adult males. Agents fear it's going to get worse next weekend when Mexicans begin returning from Christmas in Mexico. Point is, the border is not secure, which is why Secretaries Blinken and Mayorkas are in Mexico City. Here's what they want. Number one, resume deportation buses and flights from its border with the U.S. to Central America. Right now, there are thousands of migrants from around the globe sleeping in camps and shelters along the border. Two, resume policing the railroads, known as the Beast. Rail is the quickest and cheapest way for immigrants to race north. Three, increase interior checkpoints. Pull migrants off trucks and buses. Finally, limit or deny permisos or visas that allow migrants to transit Mexico legally for up to 90 days. So here's a visa center outside Tapachula, where a few months ago migrants started rioting because they were denied those documents. It's also where the latest caravan came together on Christmas Eve. Now, up to about 15,000 migrants now are marching north in a show of force, hoping to prevent Mexican police from breaking them up.
We ask them to give us a free pass to the United States. We go there to work and our children to study. It is all that we want. We have a daughter there. She's ill and she needs surgery.
President Obrador said he is open to these talks, but wants the U.S. to lift sanctions against Cuba and Venezuela in return. Critics say today's summit is simply about paying Mexico to do something we won't.
Mexico right now is operating from a position of strength. Mexico has no incentive to end this. All of this money that is working its way up through Mexico, the cartels are bringing in, it's going right back into their government.
Now, moments ago, AMLO issued a statement saying he hopes next year's presidential election brings, quote, migration to the forefront. I think it's fair to say it already has. Molly? William
Lajeunesse covering an enormous amount of ground for us, as you are absolutely right. We're heading into an election year as well, 2024. Thank you so much, William. We appreciate it. Joe, I think we'll come straight to you on this to get things started.
All right.
He covered an enormous amount of ground there, and these migrants, as we said, hundreds of thousands, record numbers, unprecedented. And here the president is in St. Croix on vacation right now. Your thoughts?
And now we're seeing Antony Blinken, Alejandro Mayorkas. They're going to Mexico. It's window dressing. It's a limp attempt to show that they care about a problem that they ignored for the past 3 years. To your point, we have Joe Biden, who's back on vacation. Again, it's fine. Presidents take vacations during Christmas week. But the problem is that every weekend is a vacation for Joe Biden. He has spent more than 40% of his presidency while on vacation. He should have stopped off at the border first on his way to St. Croix, because this is now a national security issue. We've had hundreds of people that have been apprehended crossing the U.S. southern border that are on the FBI terror watch list. Those are the ones that are getting caught. What about the really skilled terrorists that can get under the radar and into the country? And if there's a terror attack in this country as a result of somebody coming across the U.S. southern border, it's an impeachable offense. Overall, Joe Biden is currently polling at 82% disapproval on his handling of the border, from independent voters. Even a majority of Democrats don't approve of the way he's handling this. If the election comes down to the economy and the border, this will be the first one-term Democratic president since Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, you mentioned those approval ratings. Very tough for Biden right now, particularly in comparison to other prior presidents at this point in time in the election cycle heading into this one. Mayorkas and Blinken had previously traveled to Mexico, so this is yet another trip that they're making. The other ones, this is what's happened in the months since their last trip. Your thoughts on this one?
Well, you know, William mentioned it. He said he's very hopeful that in 2024 the border would finally come to the forefront. But if you think about it, think of President Biden, you have Chuck Schumer, and you also have McConnell. Collectively, they have all spent over 100 years in Congress. And the last major immigration reform was 1986. So I vote no confidence that anything is actually going to happen here. And as we're continuing to see, Republicans and Democrats are playing games when it comes to the border. The priority for Democrats is the foreign aid to Ukraine, Taiwan, and Israel. Republicans' priority are the border, which are why things are tied together. As American cities are continuing to hemorrhage resources as busloads of migrants are coming, they are continuing to go back and forth. And at the end of the day, this is a very hefty price tag that American taxpayers are paying when it comes to the illegal migrants coming across the border, and it should be on the forefront of the 2024 elections. Americans care about it. We should be caring about it, and politicians need to stop playing games.
Yeah, major budget challenges ahead for Congress. We'll see how that goes as we head into a new year. Kayleigh, I want to bring you in on this as well. You know, it is an election year around the corner. What are you expecting as we turn this corner?
Well, I think that we can expect more of the same when it comes to the border crisis from the Biden administration, which is a whole bunch of nothing. And I think that Joe is right that this is just lip service to the issue. Because remember back to 2021 when Biden sent Blinken to actually negotiate with the El Salvador president. The El Salvador president refused to meet with Blinken not once, but twice, because he recognized that the Biden administration didn't actually care about this issue. And I think that it's important to keep in mind that, you know, they can go down there, they can try and negotiate, and they can keep sending more foreign aid to these countries, but they're operating from a false premise, which is they think that they can incentivize the Northern Triangle countries to stem the flow of migration by pouring billions of dollars into these nations, when in fact we know that it does the exact opposite. In fact, Fox did an interview with one of the caravan leaders a couple months ago who admitted that these Latin American countries are deliberately, quote unquote, conspiring to keep sending migrants up to the U.S. because they know that the Biden administration will in turn send more foreign aid to them. So it's, you know, again, the premise is not working clearly, and yet that has been the Biden administration's strategy.
Yeah. Tammy, some of the prior talks have rested on the U.S. raising concerns about fentanyl being brought into the U.S. and asking Mexico to do more on that. Mexican officials have said the U.S. needs to do more on the guns heading south. So there are a lot of back and forth, a lot of issues. They keep holding these meetings, but we see these type of results.
Right. I mean, all of that is distraction. It is about busy work. What I can tell you, just don't forget, Kamala Harris was the first border czar. We saw where that went. I think from the start, they intended this because it is a distraction. It is a dynamic when it comes to, you know, people and how the census counts, you know, people residing in states, which affects the number of people, you know, that you get in the House of Representatives. But even that's not helping blue states that are losing other people to red states. But I also want to note that the number of people, it's not just the triangle countries, it's also countries like Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Lebanon, Jordan, Yemen, you have Mauritania, Uzbekistan, Russia, China. You know, you're wanting, it costs a lot of money to get here from that kind of a region. But this is the other problem when it's dozens of other than Mexico countries. And of course, what we've known from the Department of State and also from the CIA, Hamas and Hezbollah have been running many of the drug motions from Central and South America into the United States. So we know that they not just have cells, but they have operational bases that are operating in the Americas. And that, of course, is putting it more at risk, which is further makes this even more shocking when it comes to the result.
Yeah, Joe, Tammy's pointing us once again to the national security concerns that are very significant, important right now as we follow all of this. And Joe Malusian, she, as you mentioned, Tammy, when he talks to these migrants, they're from all over the world, and they're heading all over the country. They say Chicago, Philadelphia. Yeah. And we know that many of the states and big cities are overwhelmed. Their shelters are overwhelmed. Your thoughts on the security issue and really just the capacity issue?
What other country in the world allows this many people to come across its border unfettered? Let's put this in context for a moment. The number of people who have come into this country illegally during the Biden administration eclipses the total population of 26 U.S. states. Think about that for a moment. And many of them are good people, like Bill Malugin just interviewed and William Lajeunesse has been reporting on, that they want to come here for a better life. Some don't want to come here for a better life. They want to destroy America. Just ask Israel what they just went through on October 7th when their border wasn't completely secure. This should be a #1 issue in our news cycle right now. A block on the top of every evening newscast, but most media outlets are not putting the resources that this network is when it comes to the Bill Malugins of the world reporting on this on a daily basis.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.